Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Well, I'm so used to listen to this. It's the first video ever on this channel, so welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna share my own experience of how my whole belief system was transformed from a skeptic to a believer in ghosts. It's a ghost story, so get cozy and without any further ado, let's roll with it. So this was around 4 years ago. I used to live in the middle of a city. My apartment was on 27th floor. Every night I would sit in front of floor to ceiling glass and just look outside. The city lights, cars everywhere, people taking strolls, the smell of food from the restaurants, and music from some street artist sitting in front of riverbank. This was the life I knew, and I had no idea that there was a place on the other side of the country which would be totally opposite to this. That time, my ex and I had a breakup. I was heartbroken, and everywhere I went in this city would remind me of her, as not a single place was there in this city which we hadn't visited together. The same city I used to love started to feel toxic now, and I just wanted to escape, go somewhere far away from all this. I had no idea that destiny had the same plan. After a few days, my best friend called me and he told me that he was moving to another state on the total opposite side of the country because he had a family there and he had got a really good job opportunity too. As soon as I listened to this, I decided and I told them that I'm coming with you, hoping that new place will help me build a new life. Now, this was in 2022. The world was still recovering from whatever Corona did to us. I booked a flight, packed my bags, and there I was in a completely new place. My friend had already found a place for me to stay. The first thing on my list was to find a job because I didn't want to rely completely on my savings. But finding a job at that time was really difficult. For a few months, I didn't work at all. Um, couldn't find work. My savings were slowly finishing, and at that time, I met a person, a family friend. Let's call him Andrew. Also, that's not his real name, of course. Now, Andrew offered me a job at a cafe he owned. He was paying a really good money. Accommodation was free, transportation was free. The only problem was this was 900 kilometers away from the mainland in the middle of nowhere, a small town with 600 something of local population where everyone knew everyone. The sky was so clear you could see the clusters of Milky Way galaxy. It was a mining town. The miners' roster was 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, so every 2 weeks it would be packed when about 1,000 miners would fly into the town. The next 2 weeks would be really quiet. Um, this was the first time for me living in a place like that where the population of snakes around this town was more than human population. The whole town had just, I think, 8 streets in total, and if you are standing in the middle of the town, you can see the end of it in all directions, where vast nothingness would wait. At every end of the town, you could see forest and bushes as far as your eyesight could reach. It was all just nothing. If you're standing on the verge of the town, you can see as far as you can see, it's just bushes, rocks, red sand, um, and maybe trees, one or two trees, but mostly it was a desert area. So, yeah. Now, I just arrived in this town. I was picked up by Andrew's cousin. Let's call him Mark. Mark was the manager of the cafe I was starting work at. The first day, Mark showed me the cafe from outside and we drove to the place of accommodation. This house was gigantic, built around 40 years ago. Um, this was on an acre of land, maybe. This land had two exact designed houses. In one of them, the owner of the place was living, and this other used to be a night stay for the tourists. We still had the register that was filled with names of all the people that had stayed there. But now it was rented out by the owner to Andrew, and that's how I ended up in this place. There was something about this house I can't quite explain. As soon as I entered, I felt something really heavy in my chest. You know, the feeling like you are drowning in inside a room which is filled with air, but you still feel like you are drowning. That feeling. Just breathing in here was really hard work. Then there were other weird things. So the owner of the place lived in the house next door, but he had a cage attached to our place behind in our huge backyard where he kept all his pigeons. Now the thing about these pigeons was they were always 13. I mean, if there were 13 adults already in the cage, and a newborn baby is and a new baby is born, it would die by the next morning because of no apparent reason, or maybe killed by a black cat we spotted once or twice in our backyard or front porch. And as soon as one of the adult pigeon would die, only then a newborn baby would survive. Point being, the pigeons could never be more or less than 13 at any time. One day, we even saw a pigeon had died, and within next 2 days, there were 13 adults again. No egg had hatched this time, but there, there they were, still 13 of them again somehow. Even the owner didn't knew where the 13th one had come from. To all of us, me and my friends who were also working for Andrew, it's still a mystery. And then few things started going on in this house. Like in my early days in this town, it was just me and Mark, Andrew's cousin, who were living in this house. Now one weekend, me and him, we were watching a movie in our living room with our backs facing the main entrance of this house, which was a huge glass sliding door. The volume of TV was pretty high. It was very loud in there. And then we heard three loud bangs on the glass entrance door behind us. It wasn't a knock, it was loud bangs like someone or something was trying to break in. Even with loud TV noise, both of us heard it. It literally took us not even a second to turn our heads. And if it was glass and someone was there, we should see them. But nothing. We got outside, checked the whole perimeter and the road in front of our house, but nothing. And no one was. That was first weird thing that happened. After a few days, Andrew came with his family to spend a weekend at this place. He was staying at this house. Mark was cooking us dinner, and it was just me and Andrew sitting at the dinner table. He was facing a window on the other side of the room while he was saying something to his kids, who were sitting on the sofa just beside us. He stopped midway. He looked at me and he goes, Jay, someone just passed outside that window. Now, this house was really far inward, the main gate of the house, and the house itself had a lot of distance in between. So, in order to see someone in that window, that person had to open the main gate and enter the property. But none of us heard the gate opening. Again, all of us left whatever we were doing and went outside to inspect. We even asked the homeowner the next day if he was walking there, but no, of course no. He was a 74-year-old guy who would go to bed around 8 9 p.m. But this incident was pretty late, so we kinda knew, but just in case. And not a single soul was seen by any of us that night either. Another time, it was Halloween night. We just went to the only local pub. They had this costume party going on. The whole town was there. And when we came back, one of the heavy metal chairs was thrown on the ground that could not be moved with one hand. You'll need both of your hands just to move it. So wind can't do it. The outdoor light on our front porch was also turned on. Now, that's not a big thing, right? Someone might just be playing a Halloween prank on us because nothing was stolen or no harm was done. Well, only the switch for this light was inside the house, which was locked up. How do you explain that? I, I still have no explanation. Now, I'm not saying that this was definitely ghosts or something spooky. I'm just saying that there was no rational reason, and I still don't know what the hell was actually going on there. Well, that was that, and for a while, nothing happened. Andrew had got new people to work there. Mark had left, and I was now managing this cafe. It had been almost 1.5 years since I was living in this town, and all of us were of almost same age now, the new people and me. Every night we would stay up late, cook together, play games. It was fun. Now I remember one day me and my friend Polly, we were both standing in the kitchen. I was cooking something on the stove on one end of the kitchen while she was using the microwave on the other end. In between us there was a large window which we had opened because it was getting really smoky inside from all the cooking. Now both of us heard a sound, the sound of footsteps running past that window in middle of us, followed by a child's laughter. Every horror movie ever, right? Again, we didn't see any kid in the window. I mean, we were standing just there. It was so near this time, and we were both looking at each other like, that really just happened, right? I'm not imagining this shit, am I? But no, I still don't know what that exactly was, but starting from my feet till the strands of my hair on my head, my whole body was covered in goosebumps. I'm sure Polly was feeling the same thing. As I was looking at her, none of us said a word, and I literally saw a tear rolling down from her eye with an expression of shock. She we didn't know what to say to each other. We were just looking at each other with utter shock. By now, most of the locals were friends. There was this old lady called Sarah. She was born in this town and was now about 68 or 70 years old, somewhere in between. She had invited me for coffee once at her home. She used to live alone and was always searching for company. Whenever I had time, I would go spend some time with her. She used to tell me that her grandson is also same age as me, and she used to call me her grandson as well. She used to tell that to the whole town that Jay is my grandson too. And this time, she started talking about a kid that stayed at our house when it was a night stay with his parents. She didn't knew the exact reason, just that ambulance had to be called and later the kid had died. Not only that, she told me in a decade a lot of people had died at that place. After a few days, I went to the homeowner and casually asked him about it while we were feeding his pigeons some pieces of bread, and he told me that it was true. A few people did die at that place, to be exact 13. I don't know, just as he said 13, I heard a voice in my mind saying 13 pigeons. I don't know if that means something or it was just my mind trying to find something that wasn't really there. But think about it. Supposedly there were 13 lost ghosts, these souls in this house, and the number of pigeons were always 13. Did it mean something? Were they like targeting these pigeons for some reason? I I don't know. Well, these were the incidents that gave me a real shock and made me think that something might actually exist that we can't see. Maybe there's another world in this universe. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that. But you know what I mean, right? Anyways, that was my experience for today. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. And press the bell icon for more such stories. And I'll see you next Thursday. Thank you. And stay spooky. Bye.